Welcome back to another episode of KIEREACTIONS. I'm Kieran.
It's Christina.
And today we are going to be doing a review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. When I saw this movie, I was really hyped for it. Were you hyped?
It was crazy.
Like, everything was so outstanding about it. There are going to be a few spoilers ahead, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, don't watch this video. So, what I have to say about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I give this movie a 9 out of 10, and you know, I really love everything about this movie, especially Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange. He was pretty amazing, and I love the Scarlet Witch.
For Doctor Strange, I really thought it was crazy. I really liked how they referenced like what he said earlier in Spider-Man No Way Home. Their sacrifice is worth infinitely more than their lives. I thought that was like I thought it was like a really good segue into understanding Doctor Strange's character, as well as just really his thought process and like how he prioritizes things. Because in the end, you have to admit that even though he's not necessarily, I guess, like the main sorcerer, he in some sense carries a lot of responsibility in not just one specific realm of people, but like he really has like a much broader spectrum of people that he has to look out for and regulate, and you know, in terms of like being a leader. So it's crazy to like really understand like that balance that he struggles with in terms of doing the right thing and being selfish to some extent, because you know, he really does want to help people, but you know, he can't always save everyone. That's what I thought was like a really like major theme. And so that's like when initially introduced Doctor Strange as a character into Marvel Cinematic Universe, he was basically always made to like be the bad guy. Like everyone wants something, but like he was like the most realistic person about it. He's like, you know, in the end it's not true. Yeah, he's like, in the end it's like, it's not ideal. It's pretty messed up, but that's how it is. Like, do you want to just say like it's like that thing like if you have people tied down to a railroad track, are you gonna save the one like where the train's gonna hit 3 people, or the one that's gonna hit 1 person? He's always constantly in conflict with ethics and morals and stuff. Also, I felt that this movie was pretty much an overall redemption for him in the sense that he's able to like come back from like all that like guilt he's been having in terms of not being able to do what he really wanted, but you know, having to like make those difficult choices. I felt like in this sense he was able to stick to his own guns and like truly like do what he thought and believed was right.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I believe in this movie it was a bit of redemption for him, especially like the wedding scene. Like, he was torn down by it, but you know, he got to move on. Like, he can't save everyone, and it's pretty much heartbreaking for him. And I also loved Scarlet Witch in the movie, played by Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen did like a great, fantastic job. And like, the Scarlet Witch has lost everything. She lost Vision, she lost her brother, she lost
her parents.
Yeah, like everything. Like, she lost everything to the point where she wants to go into different universes and actually see her own children. And I thought that was pretty messed up. Like, she had to take America Chavez and try to suck the powers out of her so she can be able to go to different universes and take over. And I thought she played a great, fantastic villainous role, especially the scare scenes when she's chasing Doctor Strange. Oh, that was like some Conjuring
stuff right there. That was absolutely crazy. Like, her fingernails are all black and stuff, and she's like, it's not gonna be Wanda that comes after them. It's gonna be Scarlet Witch. I was like, dang. I was like, you go, girl. You know, I really thought that in terms of like her character, well, no one really wants to see like someone fall from grace like that in some sense. I personally liked her more. I liked her character more in this movie because I felt throughout her whole time being in the MCU, she was always seen as more of like a pushover, and she never really expressed like her full strength. It was always like, oh, you're capable of so much more, you're holding back, or like you don't know like how great your power is. We only really saw much of a snippet really like in Infinity War in terms of like just how powerful she is.
Well, you kind of saw it in Endgame, like when she was taking down Thanos.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But like, it's always just seemed something so minor. Like, she was always in the shadows, and every single movie, she always had to make some great sacrifice to some extent.
That
like,
is true,
yeah. She never was able to have happiness for herself. So in order, so she was able to really take that back. So when thinking about it, in reality, it's like Doctor Strange and Wanda. They really they just kind of switched their dynamic, they switched their personalities. And it's like they're really just seeing a reflection of their past and future selves in each other.
Yeah, I really do agree with you on that. Everything about Scarlet Witch in that film was superior than the other previous MCU movies that she was in, especially WandaVision.
Yeah, she not to say that Doctor Strange started off as a weak person, but not mentally anyway. He was just more of his own faults were kind of just due to his self-centered personality, his narcissism, as well as just his giant ego that prevented him from seeing the world around him in a way that, he's selfish. He wanted everything and he had everything. Whereas Wanda started having nothing and wanting everything, and now they completely switch roles. Yeah, at that point, he feels he lost the love of his life, his reputation as a person. People don't really, he lost his respect, all the respect he built up as a neurosurgeon. He didn't have any of it anymore because people kind of blamed him, the negative impacts that Endgame had on the world. And Scarlet, she came from nothing. She's actually taking things for herself. So I felt that was a really nice power move, and she was just so strong as a character.
Yeah. You bring up a lot of strong points. That I have to agree, because she was very powerful. I wouldn't even want to be near the Scarlet Witch after seeing that movie. I know her capabilities now. Imagine if she came after me. Nah, no way.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I seriously couldn't. Some people could argue that in terms of Strange not giving into her demands, they could argue and say that it's oh well, he's really just looking out for the universe as opposed to being selfless.
Yeah.
Or kind of doing or necessarily not following true to his heart. Mm-hmm. But even in the end, you notice that in his dream, at least the other multiverse Steven with the ponytail, yeah, he's you know what, I'm gonna sacrifice you because that's what the world needs. But instead, he took a big step in saying, I'm not gonna sacrifice you. I believe in you, and you can do this. That was a very powerful moment for his character.
That was very good.
Yeah.
That was very good.
There's a lot of growth.
And I loved Wong in this movie. He was pretty hilarious, but also he was a good help. I especially like the dream walking scene. Mm-hmm. Apparently when Doctor Strange and he had to take the dead version of Doctor Strange. He had to be the zombified version. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty damn good. Pretty damn hilarious. A little weird, but it was pretty. That was pretty damn cool.
Who said anything about the living? I was ew.
But that was pretty cool. He was able to use the zombified Doctor Strange and trying to protect America Chavez from the Scarlet Witch. I thought that was pretty epic. There are a few pros and cons that I have about this movie. Because the cons, when they were going through the multiverse, they were meeting the Illuminati. And I felt like that was a pretty good concept they were going with. You saw Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, who was played by John Krasinski, by the way, which was outstanding and all. Peggy Carter, Captain Marvel, Professor X. That was pretty amazing just to see those characters, especially since I love X-Men. When Scarlet Witch interrupted the trial scene, I was kind of disappointed on that because I'd like to see how the trial ended, before Scarlet Witch came in. There's not really much of a problem there. I even discussed this with a friend of mine. The battle scene could have been a little bit better, because apparently Reed Richards is supposed to be the smartest person of all time, right? He literally told Scarlet Witch how Black Bolt was going to be able to defeat her.
Exactly.
I know he was trying to give her a chance, but still, try to come up with a backup plan at least. Don't say your plan out loud. And I thought Black Bolt was kind of wasted in that scene. You only saw his true potential in one scene, when he was... Yeah,
when it showed the flashback of how, they killed, their...
version of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, their Strange. But I felt like what I hated most about like the Black Bolt thing, because like I've seen his character in other like different like medias and stuff, but either way, you think that having the power to kill someone with just a whisper, he could control himself. Like, I would imagine, like, there's no way he could go on, like, his whole entire life without at least stubbing his toe once. And he managed not, like, I would imagine, he managed not to say anything. You know, he goes his whole life without uttering one syllable. Unless, like, you know, absolutely necessary. So you think he wouldn't be too freaked out about not having a mouth at all. So for him to, like, exclaim out loud his, like, surprise, like, going, and then, like blew the back of his head off.
I was surprised by how the MCU was doing that. Like, I thought that was cool, but I thought that was messed up at the same time, because I wanted to see Black Bolt.
Yeah, at least let him last a little bit longer. I felt
in
like...
the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I wish that we could have seen exactly more of in terms of what he's capable of, or just him as a superhero, because then he just kind of looked... It, like... I felt like
looked like they kind of wasted him.
Yeah, I feel like that whole Illuminati fight scene was basically like the opening scene of Suicide Squad 2. and like they just got bodied completely.
Like Dr. Reed, like I think he could have lasted a little longer too. Like he only stretched his hand out just to reach for the Scarlet Witch, trying to battle her, and Scarlet Witch was so powerful enough to actually shred him into bits and killing him. Like, I thought, like, he could have backed up, come up with another battle strategy plan.
Or, like, he could have, like, stretched one way, you know, something.
But you know what concerned me the most?
What?
You know what concerned me the most? Like, Captain Marvel versus the Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Like, we both agreed that that battle scene could have been better between Captain Marvel and the Scarlet Witch. Like, I felt like it was a bit of a cop-out when the Scarlet Witch was bringing the statue down and crushing Captain Marvel. Like, just because it's a different Captain Marvel from a different multiverse, that doesn't necessarily mean she should die off. Like, she is still Captain Marvel no matter what. Like, there's different Captain Marvels out there, and apparently I felt like this version of Captain Marvel could have done like a force field or something just to shield her away from the statue and break that statue into bits, and we could have seen more of what happened in the battle scene, because I felt like they could have done a bit more, maybe time-wise. I think time-wise they didn't have enough time to get all that in the film, maybe.
Or at least give her like a more like reasonable death. Like, think about it. If the Captain Marvel from like the universe that we've been introduced to in the MCU, if that Captain Marvel is strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Thanos and not be phased at all, as well as put him in a headlock and literally like almost completely kill off Ronan's entire army, you would think that she would last a bit longer with Scarlet Witch.
That is true. But honestly, I believe the Scarlet Witch would have won that battle no matter what. Even if Captain Marvel tried her hardest, Scarlet Witch would have beaten her.
I feel like they're pretty even. I feel like it could have gone either way, honestly. But seeing as like it's a whole multiverse thing, Scarlet had a bit more of an upper hand. She has like a lot more power in that sense. Whereas Captain Marvel, she can't just like go through different times and stuff. Like it's like her power is like a lot more limited in that sense of like a fight, because she's not really fighting in person. She's doing it in her sleep. I mean, like, Scarlet Witch literally had, like, a whole town under her control.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Crazy.
And you know what I love? Like, America Chavez versus the Scarlet Witch. Like, like, she was trying to send her to different dimensions, trying to fight her, and apparently that's when Wanda saw her two sons, and apparently they were scared of her. And I'm like, dude, that was like messed up, but that was pretty cool at the same time.
Yeah, like that she already knew. Like even though Doctor Strange said, "I believe in you," like the real point he was trying to make was that you were able to figure out exactly where we needed to go at each moment, even if you didn't know it yourself. You managed to do it each and every single time. So in that sense, like she already knew she could not win against Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
The only thing that was stopping her...
That was pretty insane, because that gave me, like, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse vibes, when Kingpin was fighting Miles Morales, and Kingpin saw his family
that he scared his family.
Yeah, he scared them, that drove them away, and I'm like, dude, that gave me, like, Into the Spider-Verse vibes. But I did like that scene. The pretty epic battle in the fight, like, during the movie, I believe, was Doctor Strange versus his evil version of himself, like his alternate self in another universe. I felt like that was pretty damn dope. Like, apparently it was like a music battle, and I was like, dude, that was so freaking
Yeah, I was
intense.
like, I love music. Like, it's crazy. But, like, it also kind of goes back to his own character. Like, in, like, the first movie, like, he's, like, obsessed with, like, music. Well, not obsessed, but, like, in terms of, like, trivia as he was doing surgery, it was all, like, music-based. And so, like, you know, it's, like, it was kind of, like, nice to kind of, like, reference his fondness for music. So it was really nice to see that aspect. I also felt like this eye was like really creeping me out.
Yeah, the third eye opening. I really felt that was kind of weird. Even if it's a little creepy or not, I still enjoyed it either or.
I also like how like all the strangers can like, they all have like their issues in terms of not getting the love of their life.
Yeah, but I hope this time it could be different, because in the post-credit scene, you know, Doctor Strange met with Clea. They have to save like the multiverse, I believe.
Yeah, there's an inclusion.
Yeah, the inclusion, and apparently they both went off. I believe that Clea is the new love interest for Doctor Strange. She has to be, because Doctor Strange and Christine, like Christine's already married, so
yeah, like at that point, you have to let it go.
Move on. He's got to move on.
If it was a fiance, maybe he could have had a chance, but like she made it really clear. She's like, no, I'm happy. I'm married. You know, it's not even like she felt bad about like the what ifs or the if only, shoulda, coulda, woulda sort of thing. She probably ran through all those scenarios long before he became like the Doctor Strange we know today.
That is
so
true.
Like at that point. So while she loves him and she cares for him, she could never waste her life like that, because she knows that she just end up hating him in the end. She can respect who he is, but she could never learn to love that side of him. I also really like the fact that they were able to like, it gave us a brief moment to like, I guess, see the other Christine and how like, you know, like she lost her Strange and Strange lost his Christine, and they're just like really talking about like, you know, they're like being like honest about themselves. So I think in that sense, it gave him some closure to be able to move on. So I think that
that
you know,
is true.
So it'd be able to allow him to move on.
Yeah, that was pretty good, because he doesn't want to end up like the Doctor Strange he fought in the other multiverse. So I felt like that was a pretty. I thought that was pretty consistent. I thought that was pretty centric to his character.
He pretty much just had to keep like proving that he's not this guy. It's like, I'm not him, I'm different. And at the end of the day, he's like, you know what? That's me. I embrace it. But, you know, at the same time, like, I have different stuff going for me. This is, like, these are the other paths that these strangers have went through, and I'm going on a completely different path. I'm trying to find myself, and I'm trying to help others, and, like, you know, actually doing things that he believes to be correct. So I think that's, like, really good on his part. I thought Christine would have had, I wish she had, like, a bit of a bigger role in the movie, especially like the like when they're actually traveling through the multiverse.
Yeah,
I felt like the other Christine could have had like played maybe a bigger part, as opposed to like, you know, just,
I mean, I felt like her role was used good enough in the film.
Yeah, I feel like it was more just for character, like just for a sense of character development. She was unnecessarily accusatory at times, like, you're just like him, you're just like Strange. Like, this is not the time for that.
Christine's like, you're the same Doctor Strange that I met, you're gonna do the same thing all over again. Doctor Strange is like, now's not the time to talk about that. Wanda's gonna open the multiverse. She's gonna destroy everything just to be with her children. I'm like,
yeah.
I felt like that was pretty damn dope on this part. Like, I know you're right about Christine playing a bigger role in this movie. I feel the same way too, but I feel like her role was used good enough to the point that there's no point in using her much in the movie, I believe.
Like, she served her purpose, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she served her purpose.
Yeah.
You know what was so stupid about the movie? It was the last post-credit scene. Like the pizza vendor just keep hitting himself, and then all of a sudden the effect wore off, and he's like, haha, it's over. I'm like I felt like they could have done another post-credit scene that could at least tie up to the next Marvel movie.
Like, at least show like what happened with Mordo.
They should have shown what happened to Mordo. Like, they were battling each other once the Illuminati were dead, and apparently
he's the only one left now.
Yeah.
Like, he's like Earth's mightiest.
And imagine if imagine if that Mordo traveled into the multiverse just to come after that Strange. Like, that could have been interesting, especially like 2 Mordos against one Doctor Strange.
I feel like he's gonna take it out on Christine.
Yeah.
Cause like at the end of the day, he doesn't know exactly what happened, and I feel like deep down he's not gonna believe that there is no other way of how things worked, and like the fact that they created another inclusion, if they have the technology to see their effects on the multiverse, he's definitely gonna find out. So I feel like he's gonna go out of his way to try to kill him at some point, or at least probably use Christine as some type of bait for him, because he already knows their relationship.
You know what I really love? I loved Professor X versus the Scarlet Witch. I mean, even though it was a brief moment, like Professor X went into her mind.
It's like, I can free you.
At that point, it really hit me right here. Like, that shouldn't have happened. I felt like Marvel could have done a little bit more on that battle scene. But other than that, it was still a pretty dope scene. I really loved that. You know what? I gotta give Doctor Strange like a 9.5 out of 10. You?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I felt it would have been a bit better in terms I felt like they really introduced a lot of like good like concepts. As more like kind of like a what if sort of like scenario.
Yeah, I wish they could have done a little bit more cameos of different multiverse characters.
Yeah,
I felt like that could have.
I felt like what they were trying to do was like really good, and like it got me hyped. Like how I felt watching that movie kind of almost felt like how I saw Infinity War for the first time. Like I was getting goosebumps. I was going crazy. I was like bouncing up and down in my chair.
Yeah.
So like I felt they really did good in terms of like bringing like all like these like twists and turns, and like you didn't even know like what direction this was heading.
Plus it was directed by Sam Raimi, so he did like the Spider-Man trilogy, so I expected more from this film, which I think he accomplished in this film. That's what I love.
I felt it was really I felt a lot of stuff was good. I just feel like there are some parts where it wasn't executed as well as it should be, or what was being introduced as like possible concepts, or I guess different outcomes or possibilities. So I felt that given what we already know about all these like different characters, and like it didn't like some of the parts didn't seem like reasonable, or like I guess logical in some sense. Like it just seemed like there's like some parts that were just kind of missing, or if they weren't like it wasn't necessarily like hammer on the nail. You know, it just seemed like it was like some parts were a bit unfinished.
But overall, I still thought this was a great film.
Exactly.
In my heart, anyways. I feel like it's the best Marvel film, along with Spider-Man: No Way Home, and that makes me so damn happy. Like, and I hope they continue through the MCU for decades to come. Yeah,
I feel with every single movie, I felt that I feel like with every single movie, they're getting like better and better and better, and
they progress better and better.
Yeah, like at that point, like you have to like you're almost like afraid. It's like, okay, like how are they gonna top this one? How are they gonna top the next one? What are they gonna do now? Like,
when you know they're gonna top it.
Yeah, but
in some other way.
Yeah, but somehow like it always seems like what they do is like so great. There's no way they can exceed my expectations. They go above and beyond. So I really love Marvel for this. It's crazy just the extent that they go to in terms of like bringing like these masterpieces, and you know like these are something that like these are movies that are gonna be like classics. I can't even imagine like when we're old, these are gonna be considered like classic or old timey movies. I can't.
They're gonna be classics that we're gonna be showing to our children.
And
that's for sure.
Their kids, it's gonna be crazy.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I really enjoyed this film. I hope you did too. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And until then, I'm Kieran.
It's Christina.
This has been KIEREACTIONS. We'll see you in the next video. KIEREACTIONS signing out.